be hosting to this section. Just before we come, then our facilitator is already in, Mr. David Francis, and then a lot of our fellows and other board members. You're all welcome, and then our fellows, you're actually very much welcome. So it's going to be an exciting one for us and an interesting one. We're going to learn so much. So today is actually our first day. We're going to commence the program. I'm still waiting for the emojis. If you know you're actually excited, please send some more energies. I want to feel the energy, the fire in the room before we commence. So the goal of the fellowship, the vision, is raising young mental health champions. So if you're actually in this program, be rest assured that you'll be equipped and empowered to be a mental health champion, where you can also not just help yourself, but also help others in championing the mental health. And I can guarantee you today's section is quite going to be an explosive one. So please ensure you have your jotter, your writing materials, because it's going to be a lot more. So just ensure you have your writing materials with you. And then also, if you have questions too, at the end of the section, there'll be time where we're going to have sections. And then also, to further instead, we're going to have a breakout section too. So we have a lot of activities. I just want to be sure you're ready. Very soon, I would introduce the facilitator. I will actually commence. So please make sure you have your writing material. Your devices are charged, please. I'm still waiting for more emojis. Thank you. Minister Ajegwa, I can see that. Franca, Deborah, Tinola. I'm still waiting for more emojis. Wow, happy World Suicide Prevention Day. Exciting. Okay, so why I'm still waiting for the more emojis. So today's session is on suicide prevention, and we're all going to learn quite a lot. In fact, I can't wait to introduce our facilitator for today's program. It's quite loaded. It's someone with so much experience. Okay, let me know even starts. I'm still waiting for more emojis. Okay, so so I'll just quickly introduce the facilitator for today. So Mr. David Francis Effiong is a Mandela Washington Fellow, also a Savvy Fellow, and holds a mini master's in business administration and certificate in civic engagement from Michigan State University, East Lansing, USA. He's a community development worker and the co-founder and lead strategist of Dahel Consultants and Techies Limited. And I can tell you, he has been working with young people and children for more than 10 years. And notably, he's also the vice president of Anti-Suicide Global Initiative, Abuja, Nigeria, and has been a guest speaker and also a moderator of a certain online event concerning education and mental health awareness for the National University of Peace, USA, and the United Nations. I can tell you he's an outstanding leader and a Microsoft certified trainer. In fact, he shares most of his knowledge with over 2,000 students at Dahel Techies Limited. And he has an easy method or an adage. He says, I start with children and see society take a better shape, build young people to have hope in the future through little steps taken. So without much further ado, let's welcome our facilitator, Mr. David Francis Effiong. Please, you are accepted. Let's send some emojis. David Francis Effiong, please. The floor is all yours.
Hi everyone. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you, Mr. David. Yeah, we
Oh,
can hear
okay.
you.
All right. Awesome. Awesome. Um, I I don't know. The sun is kind of like fighting with me, but it's fine. It's a pleasure to be here, and I'm so happy and excited as well to be invited by the Mental Health Fellowship organization to facilitate this program. And I can assure you, man, I don't want to presume you would enjoy every bit of it, but I'm going to try my best. And this is the only opportunity perhaps I have to, meet a lot of you. Make sure that you pin me down, as they say, and make the session as much as interesting as I want it to also be. So thank you very much, Anthony, and everyone else.
You're welcome, Mr. David. Please, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. All right. So, was it 2 days ago or was it yesterday? I asked Kunle what the expectations of the section would be. What I did not ask him was how long is my facilitation gonna be, so that I work according to time.
Okay, 45 minutes, sir. 45
45
minutes.
minutes.
Yes,
Oh,
45
okay. All
minutes.
right. That's fair enough. So, good morning, everyone. It's 9:07 a.m. where I am, and Anthony, is everyone here in Nigerian? Is it just a Nigerian?
No, not everyone is. Who are joining from India, from
I
Belgium.
can't hear you. Okay.
Some people are joining from India and from Belgium, not just Nigerians.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Right. So I'm speaking to a global selection of fellows, mental
Yes.
health fellows. Okay. I'm very happy and excited to have that. So let me check the chat section. Let's see. Now I have expectations that I need to meet for the program, but I am also interested to know, especially for those who are here, what are your expectations of me as a facilitator, as if you can just briefly put that down while I talk about the expectations I am looking out for. The first one is we want to see the possibility of improving our collective awareness of what of what suicide means. We want to also look at if it is even possible for you and I to recognize warning signs of what suicide is. That warning signs. If you see someone who's suicidal, can you know just by looking at the person? Or do you need to conjure anything? Do you need to, like in some movies, do you need to put a powder in your hands and like blow it into the person's face? And the person will be like, okay, I think I'm suicidal. Do you need to do anything extraordinary to get it started? Okay. And is it possible that when you discover someone who is suicidal, is it possible for you to introduce the person to some suicide resources? Can you do that? And do you know how to do that? That's a question I would love us to ask. And then finally, the role of you and I in the fight on preventing suicide. So if you have expectations of me as a facilitator, you could just write it. If you don't, that's no problem. But I want this section to be interactive. So I'm going to be calling out some names, random names actually. And don't be shy if I call your name. Um, let's see. Is Halima here? So if I call your name, you can just unmute. Maybe if you want me to see how you look like or what you look like, no problem. Um, is Halima here? Okay. Um, someone's name is iPhone. Is it the recent iPhone, iPhone 14? I wanted to. iPhone, are you here? So, guys, the question I want to ask right now is, what is your idea of suicide? Or what have you heard about suicide? Um, I want someone to quickly give a response to that. So that I tell you my own idea of suicide. And let's forget about the internet for now. Don't go to Google and type what is suicide. I need you to tell me what you think suicide is. Anyone? Hey, fellows, are they hearing me at all?
Good afternoon, sir.
All right, good afternoon.
Okay, my name is Precious.
All right.
And what I understand by suicide is taking of one's life by a deliberate action of taking one's life or putting an end to one's life. It is an action that is deliberate. That
Okay,
is what I
deliberate.
understand. Yes.
Okay, that's the key word. Deliberate action. Okay,
Thank you,
all
sir.
right. So, thanks so much. The second question to someone else is, why do you think people deliberately take their life? Precious, thank you so much. Someone else should. Why do you think anyone can deliberately take their life or will deliberately want to take their life? Yeah, Deborah.
Okay, good afternoon. The reason why I think some people commit suicide is if they just want to end the pain of what they are going through at that moment.
Okay. All right. Now let me ask you this very funny question, Deborah. Is it possible that you, as a person, you don't have any pain? You've not experienced any pain since you were born.
It's not possible.
So that means you have experienced pain.
Yes.
So why didn't you kill yourself to end it?
Okay, like when the pain is unbearable, like okay, I can't continue to move on. Like I feel like living in itself is a courage. So for them to
Okay.
for yes, it's the courage to live. So for someone to just say, okay, I don't want to go through this pain, I don't want to go through this suffering, I'm frustrated, I can't carry on with life. I think it's time for me to end it. So I feel like the pain is what makes them end to bring an end to their life.
All right. All right. Is there you want to talk? Thanks, Deborah. I'm beginning to get names now. Precious, Deborah, and Izzy. Those of you that are quiet,
Okay, good day, sir.
yeah.
Okay, just like she said, I think one of the things that I just wanted to say or wanted to add is that I feel that some people actually want to commit suicide based on, should I say, something that is indirectly unrealistic. I don't know, but it's almost like a pain that they feel is there, but it's actually not there if they I don't know if it is possible that if they look further, but almost like an unrealistic pain in that sense. I don't know. I just feel like that sometimes.
Unrealistic. So the pain is there, but it's not
But
there.
I
It's
don't.
like saying an illusory pain.
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Shitu.
Okay, good afternoon, sir. I would say that suicide is an unhealthy coping mechanism that people use to avoid stressors and life challenges. Everybody does go through pain and go through stress and challenges in life, but the way that you handle them differs. There are healthy coping mechanisms and unhealthy coping mechanisms. So I think that people that take their own life go through the wrong path of unhealthy coping mechanism to end the pain.
All right. So I get some keywords. The first one, thanks so much, Chitu. The first person was suicide is a deliberate attempt to end one's life. And the other person was it is a way to end the pain. I think that came from, was it Precious or Deborah? A way to end the pain. And the other one was like that this pain is actually illusory. It's something that it's there, but it's not there at the same time. Okay. So I have a hand here. Oludaya. Um, is the hand in pains or Oludaya? Are you here? Okay, Adering. I I sometimes I have a problem pronouncing some names, so you guys pardon me. Aderi, Nola. Do you want to say something? Your hand is up.
Good afternoon, sir. Yes, I just
Hi.
wanted to add to one of the reasons I think people commit suicide. Okay, I think they do not have hope for living anymore. They just
Okay.
don't see a reason why they should live, perhaps because of what they've gone through or what someone did to them. They just feel like, okay, they can't see beyond the now. So there is no hope for living. There's no hope to continue. So I think lack of hope is one of the reasons why people commit suicide.
Okay. And thank you very much. Normally, if I am talking about suicides, guys, I don't like going the theoretical way. I always love to, because I've moderated sections like this in the past, tons of them. I've been invited to some universities in the past to give presentations about suicide awareness and prevention. I remember one university I was invited to. That was Veritas University in Abuja and the University of Uyo down the south in Nigeria. I've talked about it here in a couple of places as well in the United States. And I can tell you that when you are talking about suicide, please do not always, as fellows, do not always be tempted to define suicide outside the human contact. What I mean is, don't define suicide to be a concept that is far-fetched from human beings. You need to put numbers to it. You need to put your personal life experience to it. You need to make it real. You need people to understand. And that is, if I'm talking about you recognizing warning signs of suicide, that means you need to be able to connect with human beings. You need your observation reflex. You need your observation reflex to be really high. You need to be able to be in the same room with people and know that somebody in that room is not okay. Okay, you need to be completely human. You need to be in touch with your emotions. You need to be in touch with the emotions that can go wrong. You need to be in touch with empathy and sympathy. You need to be in touch with who you are as a person. So I, as a person, I've had both personal experiences and experiences of people that have shared their experiences with me, how they survive suicide. And I'm not talking about just young people. I'm talking about people who are actually successful in their own fields. I had a professor in the United Kingdom, University of Bournemouth, who talked to us one time how she wanted to end her life. This is someone who is incredibly successful. How did she come to the point where she said, enough of it? Okay, how did she come to that point? So in defining what suicide is and what suicide prevention and awareness is, you need to be in touch with your human self. So many years, not many years, because I'm not an ancestor. I know, well, sometimes when I say many years, I'm like, people think it's one olden days guy that's talking. No, I'm still young. I'm still, so, but years back, maybe over 7 years ago, I I was in this crazy relationship, long distance. And if you followed me on social media, I talk about relationships once in a while because I know that you, if you want to be a human being and you want to be happy, you cannot you cannot disintegrate relationships from the human self, no matter what type of relationship you're talking about. Right here in the United States, I've seen people who are really depressed because they lost their cat or their lizard or their snake or their dog. You know, they can't feel frustrated. They can even be taken to emergency response center just to help you heal with the trauma of losing your dog or your pet. You know, so relationships could be with a human being or with sometimes an inanimate object or an animate object that is not human being. So get that at the back of your mind. So few years ago, I was in this relationship with somebody long distance, and if you've known me online, I talk about these things sometimes. I'm always traveling all the time, and so if I'm in a relationship with someone, I get to tell the person, look, it's gonna be a long distance stuff. Are you up for it? I mean, we're gonna be talking video calls, we're gonna be doing this, doing that, we'll be visiting each other, but these are the challenges. This is my career path, this is who I am, this is my mission in the world, this is my purpose. And so I cannot be contained in a particular space. I need to blossom. And with that blossom, it comes, distance. So she didn't understand that, and we had series of issues after a couple of months together, and I was really traumatized. I wasn't just traumatized because I was working in a particular rural community. Yeah, this was years back in Nigeria, and my oga no one pay me salary. My employer didn't pay me my salary for 3 months because I said something in the staff meeting sometime, telling the management that they needed to do better in their work. So they kind of what they wanted to punish me to say, okay, this guy feels he knows too much about the work. He's so passionate about the work. I wasn't paid for 3 months, and for someone who was newly out from the university, you know that you need the money to keep both your relationships. My mom actually fell sick the same week that I had issues with my girlfriend or with my partner at the time. So the pressure was building up. No money, poor health from your mother, and troubled relationships. I don't have a brother, there was no one at the time I could call and say, oh boy, it don't happen, no, it don't cast. I didn't have anyone to tell that story to. So the pressure was right there in my head. I thought it was something I could manage, but every day as I wake up, thinking about going to work, not having food to eat, not having enough money to send home, the pressure started building up. And I didn't notice it until I started having insomnia, unable to sleep. And this continues for days and days into weeks. I was able to briefly talk about it with a friend, with a colleague, and I said, I'm having difficulty in sleeping. I didn't tell her that this is what is causing my pressure because I didn't know how to verbalize the problem. And again, this is what you should need to know. One of the signs you should watch out for people who are suicidal is the fact that they are not just sad, but they have issues verbalizing their hurt. They cannot find the best words to describe their complete situation. So put that down, please, because sometimes when you ask your friends what is going on, you can feel it in your soul that this person is passing through a hard time. And then, like some Nigerian women or women generally, when you ask them, babe, what did they happen now? I know. And you can see that this person is sad, and the person will be like, nothing. Hey, no, 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 no. As a fellow, pay attention to every nothing that people say to you. Because in the nothingness of that nothing, there is something you need to harvest. You need to be patient enough. You need to help them to talk about their story in a way that makes them tell you the something in the nothing. Are we following? When I see the here, are we here? All right. If you are following, please let's have the feedback. Let me know that you are understanding what I'm saying. So as I'm telling you my personal story and the stories of my friends, I'm going to also infuse these lessons into these stories. So your job is to take notes, and your job is to make sure that you throw back these questions at me, so I know that this is what your understanding of it is like. So I told her at the time that this is what I'm passing through. I just cannot sleep. And she said, okay, I'm going to take you to the pharmacy. And she did. And that was the first time in my life I was introduced to sleeping pills. I was on sleeping pills for over a month. I didn't know how to sleep until I took those pills. And then a time came that I started losing myself. I started having there's this slang Nigerian say, when you are lekba, your lekba don't over lekba, that type of thing. I don't. It's like you are slim naturally, but now you are no longer slim, but you are thin. I, you are thin. That's how I was looking. I wasn't looking good. And when I saw myself in the mirror, I told myself, no, you are gonna, if you continue like this without telling people what pressure you are passing through, you are gonna lose it. So my friend now introduced me to a friend of hers who was a medical doctor. I went there to visit him, and he now introduced me, asked me if I'm passing through stress, asked me a couple of questions that were really helpful. And for you fellows, the resources to help people deal with their suicidal thoughts or is that you need to be able to ask people the right questions. They must not be the perfect questions, but you must be able to ask open-ended questions. Don't go asking your friend, like we play a lot about these things, but it's not the case. It's not to be encouraged. Don't go asking people, Alpha, this one that you are like this, do you want to kill yourself? I've had people ask other people that type of question, even jokingly. That is if there's anything like the wrongest question, that is like the wrong that's like the wrongest question you can ever ask someone who is passing through pains. Don't ask the question that shows that you are not interested in their problem. Ask a question that will improve their awareness of their own self. Suicide awareness is not about telling people don't kill yourself. Suicide awareness is about telling people to be aware of themselves, to vocalize that their problem. They should be able to be in a place where they are helped to vocalize that problem. And one way to do that, one of the resources we can point to are appropriate questions, open-ended questions. Don't ask questions that you will get a yes or a no answer. Ask questions that you are going to get people talking. Don't ask people, are you going to die? Don't ask people, are you okay? Okay. It's funny when you say, are you okay? It's like a yes or no. Someone who is really depressed will not want to be seen as being depressed. So the immediate answer is going to be a no. But ask the person, um, tell me, how was your day? Okay. So if the person begins to narrate how the day was, you can begin to sense from the tonal language of that person, you can begin to sense that, all right, this person had a nice day, or this person has a day that you need to really. So don't say, are you okay or not? You are going to know if this person is okay or not by the person telling you how their day went. So that is what I want you guys to know. And it was that medical practitioner that helped me at a time in my life to be able to vocalize, to know that, look, I am going to have acute anxiety if I don't deal with how I deal with stress. So I needed to improve my stress management skills. All of you that each time you are putting on a CV, you are like, I can handle stress very well, as if you are you born stress in the same room. You are the father of stress. Like, people say that as if it is a major strength. I can handle stress 100%. Yes, instead of saying that you are immune to stress, why not say that you have improved your stress management skills? That shows that you are not in a place of needing help. It means that you are in a place of managing yourself properly. So the company is not going to be taking someone that they are going to be working with in the hospital instead of in the workplace. And I had this recent this recent colleague, not the well, an employee in my company. And I don't want to mention her name. She is an incredible data analyst. I mean, she designs most of our applications. You know, she takes care of a lot of students when it comes to records. So she does a lot of that. And but she has a problem. And the problem is the fact that she is not mentally stable. That's a description of the state of her mind. So today she is very okay. The next day somebody comes, she'll send me a message. Like, you know, all these angry women, when they are so angry with you, they don't want to call you and tell you. Then you open your WhatsApp and you are reading a textbook of a chat. If you have ever been in that position, where you open WhatsApp and you're like, damn, you keep scrolling. The person is typing and typing. And even when you say, okay, let me call you, by the time you are done typing and putting a full stop, you are more chats are coming in. That's what I was seeing. You know, she was so pissed off. And when I called her, I discovered that somebody in her past was actually traumatizing her. Someone in her past, maybe her ex, was not just traumatizing her, but making sure she was living a miserable life. So when she relocated from that state to another state, anyone that looks like that guy or speaks like that guy became a trauma to her. So she was living on a trigger effect life. Anyone can trigger her, and if you trigger her, she's gonna talk to you the way she is gonna be talking to that guy, pretending as if you are that guy. I don't know. It's like let me call out someone. Ishmael. Maybe Ishmael is a guy. I don't know. It's like Ishmael. It's in a beautiful relationship or wants to be in a beautiful relationship with someone. So you just talk to this lady and you're like, okay, I'm interested in you. Can we have a relationship together? And instead of the lady to say, okay, no, I'm not. I'm married or whatever, she'll be like, why is it that anytime I tell you I don't want to see you in my life, you keep coming again? What is the problem with you? And you're like, but we just met. I mean, we literally just met a few seconds ago. Yes. And she'll be like, yes, is that not what you keep saying every time? You know, blah, blah, blah. I am tired of your lies. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That if you are in a place where if you are a fellow trying to be in a relationship with someone, or you have experienced this in your life, please, that is not the time to walk away from that person, except you are not a mental health advocate. Even if you are not interested in that relationship anymore, but you should be interested in making sure the person has vocalized what the problem is. You need to be able, sometimes, look, sometimes people just listening to you, I hope you know that people just listening to you, or getting a listening ear, just having that alone can go a long way. I hope we know. Sometimes people, when people talk to us, sometimes it's not just that they want responses. They want you to say, okay, go ahead, or they just want people to listen to them. And so when Deborah or Precious, when they were talking about pain, and I asked her, have you had pain in your past before? And she was in the affirmative. She said yes. If you ask her further, if I go further to ask questions to Deborah, Precious, or Ize, or Shitu, or any of those ones that spoke, you discover that all of them have had pains in their life one way or the other. What situates you as a healthy person different from someone who's suicidal is because you are able to vocalize that pain. You are able to tell someone else you trust that pain. You are able to write it down, maybe in your journal. You are even able to write it down on your Facebook. I have read tons of people who are depressed coming online because social media, it's a bit of an extension of ourselves. So we have to pay attention to how people express themselves online. You need to begin to read in between the lines, because you can actually feel that this person is sad, this person is happy, this person is depressed or frustrated, or somehow. We've had experiences like that in the past. Okay. So I'm going to pause here and then ask Anthony how my time is like, how many minutes I have. And then I'm going to ask you guys a question before I just give you a few points to run up what I've been saying. A few points you can note. So the question is going to be for all of you. And I've gotten a few names today, and thanks for talking. The question I'm going to ask all of you is, what are the things you suspect can make you take your own life? So those who have not spoken, I want to learn from you. I want you guys to reflect on that question. Don't be in a hurry to say, God forbid, I cannot end my life. I'm going to tell you, let me use myself as an example. Do you know the things that can make me to take my life? It's simple. It's simple. Not having anyone, not having anyone to talk to when I have a lot of pressure building up in my head. And I've given you an experience to back up that point. So I want to hear from you. It could be you, it could be your friend. What do you think is that thing that can make you take your life? Now, when you are reflecting on this question, think about it this way. I'm not saying that I am suicidal. What I'm saying is, okay, yeah, I have 12 minutes more. What I'm saying is, what are the things that can make you go to your breaking moment in life? What are the things that can make you go to your breaking moment in life? So, Anthony, thank you so much for. I have 12 minutes, guys. So let's use 2 minutes and then get a few more names. And then I'm going to summarize by just giving you some points of what we've discussed today about suicide, understanding suicide. I don't want to define it. You all can go to Google and define suicide. But I wanted you guys to have a deeper understanding of what suicide is. So who want to talk? Okay, Edith. Edith, you are on mute. Is Edith speaking or someone else? Someone else speaking? All right. Yeah, you could just unmute yourself and tell me what is that thing that can take you to your breaking point. Look, we are all together here. If it's in your career or relationship or your family, feel very free to share, because it's only in sharing that we get to understand the next thing I want to tell you now. Yeah, iPhone 14. Your hands are up. Hi, fellows. Okay, everyone here is perfect. No one has issues in life.
Maybe I can come in.
All right, yeah.
All right.
Yeah, go ahead. Just tell me your name and go ahead.
This is sharing. Thank you. Okay. So there is what some things I could put on that could easily take my life. This is like an failing relationship. I maybe at that time. Those are almost most of the things that are so much worrying. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Right. Thank you very much. So let me take one other person. Thanks for sharing that.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
My name is Patience Anthony, and I must say it has been wonderful listening to all you have been saying. So to answer your question, well, let me say I was at the point of that, so I would use that experience to answer the question.
All right.
Maybe when I lose someone very important, and then felt like the world wouldn't make sense again without the person. So that could push me to committing suicide.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's a very good description. A very good one. Thank you. Um, there is time for one more person. So what did you say your name was? Person that just spoke.
Patience, Anthony.
Patience, Anthony. Okay. All right. I have Iduno. Okay.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good
Good
afternoon, sir.
afternoon.
Yeah. Okay, something that would trigger suicidal thoughts is rejection, financial burden, and maybe a whole lot of disappointments here and there.
All right. All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So let me summarize this by saying, like, every one of us, those that have spoken and those that have not spoken, will all have those triggers. If you are a Christian, there are stories of uh, people who had those triggers. At a point, like I read the Bible sometimes. So there's this story of, for those who are not Muslims, of course, you know who Jesus is. So there's this story of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane, right? Telling the Heavenly Father to take this cup away from me. He was tired. He wanted to run away. He had the pressure up there. And if Jesus, one of the greatest prophets a lot of us know, can say that of himself, no human being whatsoever is free from pressure. As long as you have a brain, robots cannot commit suicide. I hope you know that. A cat, your dog cannot commit suicide. Your fish, if you are keeping fish as a pet, or a snake, all of these animals cannot commit suicide. Do you know why? Because they do not have the intellectual capacity of the human beings. When once you infuse intellect into a human being, you are indescribably infusing all the burdens of knowledge and of failure of knowledge and ignorance in that person. In that person. You can never ask a robot to do something for you and a robot will say no. A robot will give you options. Options that it has been programmed to give. But if you ask a human being a question, a human being can tell you no, because the human being is already in a reality to understand what ignorance is. So as long as you are on this call, as long as you are a fellow, there is something that you can say, look, if I get to this point, whether in your relationship or your career or wherever, if I get to this point, I don't know how I'm going to take it. Now, if you have identified that thing, you need to be able to, like the last person that talked about financial bankruptcy or something, you need to be able to prepare your mind to say, look, if I get to the financial background, if I get to bankruptcy, this is how I'm going to be feeling this way. So what do you need to do now? You need to improve your financial knowledgement or your financial skills. You need to become more economically self-aware. You need to begin to prepare yourself to avoid the end of which you are afraid of. You need to begin to prepare yourself for that end. Like the other person that said, a patient said that if she loses someone that means a lot to her, she's not going to know how she's going to feel. Now, for patients and a lot of people in our side, I want to say this. If you are in a position where the loss of someone means so much to you, what you need to do in your life as a person is to surround yourself with more loving people, people that you can always go to cry. Imagine losing someone and you've been crying all alone. There's no one to call. There's no one to, to give you a shoulder to cry on. It increases the rate of your depression and frustration over time. So you need to be able right now, you need to be, as long as you are building your wall of love and affection around one person or a couple of people, you need to expand that wall. You need to be able to be open-minded to also receive and give love, so that when the time comes that your greatest loss is here, you need to be able to be confident enough to say someone else is there out for me. I still feel loved by someone else. And finally, I want to share something with you before we end this section. And I hope I can share my screen. I'm going to share this document with you guys if you don't mind. So this is something, an article I wrote some time ago. I started the article by saying, you are mad, but not roaming yet. It's always a funny, because I feel that a lot of people are crazy. The difference between them, I've seen a lot of crazy people here in the United States. People even on the streets, the ones in Nigeria we call mad. Unfortunately, in the fight against suicide prevention and mental health awareness, we need to tell people to use the appropriate language. Stop telling people that they are mad. Actually, what they are passing through is a mental illness or mental challenge. Okay, what does it mean to be mad? Because if you say be mad, you are putting people in a box that you are saying these people do not need help, So in our quest to be mentally aware, to prevent suicide, to tell people about suicide awareness, we need to use the appropriate language. And I have written this article, which I'm going to share with you. And in terms of mental health awareness, we're looking at alcohol withdrawal, dissociative identity disorder, somatoform disorder, anxiety disorder. And I use my personal story to talk about anxiety disorder. When I was always anxious about what is going on. Why is my mom going to be okay? When am I going to be paying my salary? What is happening to my relationship? For those of you that are always applying to some of these opportunities, global opportunities, and you have an anxiety problem, look, when you apply, close your bloody laptop, close it, go and eat, go and have fun, go and dance. Forget about it. Stop building up your anxiety. Because if you keep building it up, the pressure is going to come up and you may end up having anxiety disorder. And when with that comes acute anxiety disorder. Okay. So we have adjustment disorder. There are people that find it difficult to go into a new relationship because they are having that adjustment disorder. That's why if you look at people who are in domestic violent relationship and you are telling them, come on, get out of here, leave this place. People don't know that other people are finding it difficult to adjust, and because they are very difficult, very uneasy for them, they have to stay put. They have to be where they are not wanted. So we need to look at this. We need to look at oppositional defiant disorder. This, it's different. People are in Nigeria, for instance, we have people who are protesting against the government and so on and so forth. But watch out for the young people who are always we have all these people in our classrooms those days. Anything the lecturer says, they are always opposing. Anything the school says, they are always opposing. Those folks can have oppositional defiant disorder and they don't know. Conduct disorder. Why is it difficult for certain people, certain young people, to just conduct themselves well? You tell them when you go to Rome, behave like the Romans, but they go to Rome and behave like idiots. They cannot conduct themselves. You take them to the prison, the same thing. Mood disorders. Today the person is happy, the same day the person is sad, the same day the person is extremely happy, the same day the person is extremely sad. Watch out for these things. And we have psychotic disorder, we have EMDR, and we have food addiction. There are people who they are always eating, especially all those fine people you take on dates. Each time they go on dates, they're always eating. Always eating. Food addiction. You just finish eating food now. You get home and you are hungry. You are eating another one. You keep eating. Look, you are saying you are enjoying your life. As fellows, people who enjoy themselves that way, you need to watch out for it because they are passing through incredible difficulty in their life, whether they don't know it or not. You need to be able to ask them, why do you like eating food? When did it start? Something like that. I know all of us, we like eating food, but we all know what I'm talking about. So this article, if you read it, I'm going to send it. If you remind me, I'm going to send this to you guys so you get to help it. You get to read it and you can help others and yourself to be mentally healthy by refusing to stigmatize certain people, which I mentioned right there. You could see on the screen, refusing to shame people, refusing to do this, refusing to do that. You can, be very much mentally aware by, doing all of these things. And I feel that uh, we should get to that point where we are completely not oblivious of what people are passing through. So and these are the points. Number one, guys, number one, and thank you very much for the contributions that we're making. I hope I'm not over my time. Number one, what I want to tell you now is pay attention to suicide triggers. You need to understand them as a person before you understand suicide triggers for other people. Suicide is a serious public health problem. Between 2000 and 2008, suicide rates increased by 30%. Yes, it declined at a point, but it is the leading cause of death. In the United States here, it is recorded in 2020 that 45,000 persons die of suicide every 11 minutes. So there's this project 11 that came up as a result of that. Imagine 45,000 persons. And you can imagine in a place that claims to be one of the most industrialized or modernized world, if they have these high rates of suicide. Now think about very poor countries in the world and people who cannot meet their happiness, who cannot climb Abraham Maslow's theory of need, who cannot get to the point of fulfillment. Think about it. So from the age of 10 to 64, suicide is said to be the 9th leading cause of death from even people 25 to 30 to 34. So we need to pay attention to these triggers. We need to pay attention to these numbers. We can strengthen our economic support. Please and please make sure that if financial problem is your problem, make sure you continuously put yourself in a position of improving your economic support team. Stop being circled by people who cannot help you when you need that help. You need to improve your network. That's what I want to tell you today. That's the second thing. And the third thing is, when it comes to risk factors and the warning signs, please pay attention to people who are continuously withdrawing from others. All those people where they talk say that is how I am, they'll be mentioning all those astrology signs, Sagarius, I don't know, all those shit. I don't, people that say this is how I am. I'm not an outgoing type. I like keeping things to myself. I don't know, blah 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 blah. Pay attention to them. No, please. People who they are always active in life, all of a sudden they are very calm. Sudden calmness. Pay attention to these warning signs. Being sad or moody, long-lasting sadness and mood swings. Please pay attention to them. I've talked about my own anxiety and how I've been able to deal with it. I've talked about being isolated. It doesn't work for me. If I am really feeling very sad right now, the next thing you're going to see me do is I am going into my car, I'm going to visit a friend, and I'm taking a friend out to a party or a club. And then I'm coming back and I'm in that club. I'm going to be telling my friend, drinking whatever thing it is I drink, telling my friend what my problem is. Being isolated. If I'm isolated, it doesn't help. And then you need to be able to talk about people who always talk about, forget, I don't want to be a burden to you. I don't want to be a burden to you. Don't worry, nothing, everything is fine. No, nothing is not fine. And then people who increasingly all the time they are taking on drugs and all of those things, and they're always having access to, don't worry, say you are not answering me, no problem, maybe tomorrow now you come and see me and then I'll die and then you'll be very happy. People that say things like that, please pay attention to them. And when you pay attention to them, the last thing I want you to do is please, please, and please identify the crisis services that are around you. In Nigeria, we don't have 911. Anthony, what do we have in Nigeria if not 911? Do you know?
So each state, I think they have their own emergency response.
Yeah,
No,
okay.
112, yeah, 112. University.
112.
I
Yeah,
know about
please.
the
Whether this one to work or not, please pay attention. Every human being, you should have the phone number of a police officer. Forget that there was even a time I wanted to organize mental health awareness here in Texas, where I'm staying. The city of Texas is the first city in the United States that the first time they want to do emotional support for police officers, and that's because you cannot be fighting crime. You are seeing all these horrible things all day long, and no one is telling you to no one is you know sharing how you can support yourself. So I love that. When I heard it on radio the other time, I was really intrigued by it. Can we do the same thing in Nigeria? Okay, so you need to be able to have at least a phone number of a police officer. Right now, those of you looking at me, ask yourself, do you have the phone number of a police officer? Are you a friend to a police officer, or you just think these guys are out there to get your bribes and blah, blah, blah? Do you have a phone number to someone who is working in the fire, on the fire service? So we call all these contacts. You need to have these contacts with you. We call them crisis services contacts. You need to be having them. In the United States, I have tons of them. I have the Texas emergency, the text line, the lifeline. I have all of them. So you need emergency resources. We need to have all these resources. Medical doctors. Do you have the contact of medical doctors in your phone? Right now, if I slum right now, because maybe I don't know, but God forbid I slum right now, I'm just going to quickly call 911. But if I were to be in Nigeria, because 911 doesn't bloody work, I'm just going to pick my phone and call my friend who is a medical doctor. Do you have a contact of a lawyer? There are some contacts that are intrinsically very, very appropriate for you to have. A contact of a physician, someone who can help you out, someone who can help you out when you are depressed, self-injury, first aid, people that can help you when you are emotionally down. We need those people. Suicide prevention. In the United States, we have the American Association of Suicidology. We have the Crisis Text Line. We have the Doji Center. We even have the Jason Foundation, the Jet Foundation, Lifeline Chat, Man Therapy, Mental Health America, My 3 app, a National Action Alliance for Suicide Prevention. We have the National Association for People of Color Against Suicide. Tons and tons of resources. So we in Nigeria, for those of you fellows who are in the fight against suicide, we need to begin to have the list of contacts. Have them at the back of your mind, because when people need you, if you cannot help them, my philosophy is, if you cannot help people, have contacts of people that can help people who are in trouble. And with that, I know I've been talking so much, Anthony, and thank you very much for allowing me facilitate this section and for sharing my experience and also learning from all of you. Thanks so much.
Wow, thanks so much, Mr. David. Thank you. That was such, I quite learned quite a lot. And about my daughter, I had a lot. So just quickly going through the question and answer section. So please on the chat, just tell Mr. David, thank you, please, on the chat. Let's appreciate Mr. David. So just quickly use 5 minutes for our question and answer before we quickly go into the breakout session. So please, if you have questions, drop it on the chat or